All right, we are at the Prairie Homestead in Badlands, South Dakota. There was this Brown family. They left Nebraska and they came here to the Badlands, South Dakota and built a sod house. And from what the lady told me inside, there is only 2 sod houses left in the whole United States. Only 2. The other one is in the panhandle of Oklahoma. And we are here at the Badlands, South Dakota to visit this sod house. So, let's see. You could file 160 acres of land for $18. They had to build a house, plow small acreage of crops, establish resident for 5 years in order to receive ownership. This up here I'm walking towards is the sod house. There's also, look, prairie dogs. And this is the only place that has white prairie dogs. Only place. Welcome to the home in Mr. and Mrs. Ed Brown, 1909. I wonder if this was the original buggy. They used to not climb on. Could be. Definitely old. Press the button by the door to listen to the history. All right. It's crazy. All original. The walls, the logs, the ceiling. Wow. Looks like that stove is original too. It's going up. Let's go back here. Oh, it's a bedroom. Oil lamps. Wow. Look at that, the dirt in the window. That's crazy. And there's the ground, you're like level. Push button by door to listen to the history. I'm looking for a button. Maybe this is it. Yep.
Welcome to the home of Mr. and Mrs. Ed Brown. In the fall of 1909, Mr. and Mrs. Brown and their bachelor son Charles migrated from eastern Nebraska by covered wagon to homestead this 160 acres. Arriving late in the fall, they immediately began to build the dugout portion of their home. They started by digging out the kitchen and bedroom portion. The next step was to cut down the cottonwood trees from the draw in front of the house and lay up the beams in the front of the dugout. A trip now had to be made south to the White River with team and wagon to get the slabs to cover the beams. As soon as the slabs were in place, 6 to 8 inches of dirt was shoveled over the roof. 2 small boards and 2 pieces of building paper served as a room divider between the kitchen and bedroom. This was their completed home. In a few years, the dugout walls began to cave in, and the boards were placed around the perimeter of the 2 rooms. By the next year, the sod walls as well as the boards were covered with a calcimine-like material from the Badlands, with which the boards are now painted. As the years went by, the walls were covered with various types of material, and then wallpapered. The frame room was added in 1913. It was a deserted homestead shack from nearby which Mr. Brown moved in. The kitchen stove, table, washstand, and shelves are original equipment. The remainder of the furniture is typical of that used by Mr. and Mrs. Brown, as well as other people in the area. The log front on this building was quite unusual, as most dugouts would have had a sod front. When the frame room was added, siding boards were placed over the log front to give an appearance of the same type of construction. The 1909 date may seem quite recent to you, but this area was not settled until after 1900. The Homestead Act was passed in 1862, and the first homesteads were taken out in eastern Nebraska and eastern South Dakota. It took many years before the settlers moved this far west. This area was surveyed in 1892, 2 years after the last Indian battle. The Wounded Knee Massacre, which took place about 60 miles southwest of here in 1890. The first homesteads were filed for in Jackson County at the turn of the century. The largest number of homesteads filed for in any one year in all the western states was in 1913. The last homestead was filed for in this county in 1935. However, by 1918, most every 160 acres had been filed for, and most of the homesteaders were living in their claim. Crop failure and hard times in general forced many people to abandon their land early, but when the drought and depression of the 1930s came, it forced all but the most stubborn ones off the land. Conditions such as hard times, drought, grasshoppers, and other disasters, as well as the machinery, household furnishings, and general living conditions, were very much the same throughout the Great Plains from 1850 through the 1930s. If your grandparents, or maybe Aunt Nellie, homesteaded any place from Canada to Mexico, there would have undoubtedly been a lot of similarity between their home and this home of Mr. and Mrs. Brown. The outbuildings were also built by Mr. Brown and his son. The buildings have had some maintenance work done recently, and in 1966, the roof of the cave was rebuilt. We hope you enjoy our Prairie homestead, and that it has shown you an important phase of our American heritage.
So let's walk behind the house. Do not step on roof. But the window in the bedroom, if you look out, this is what you see. Like a storm shelter, I guess. Look, and there's the outhouse. This acreage was the land that Mr. Brown farmed to prove up his homestead to acquire ownership. God, I thought somebody was in there.
What's in there?
It got you too. I thought it was a real person. Oh, that's funny. He needs his privacy.
Oh, man.
Alright, let's get back on the trail. That was fun. And I think this is chicken coop to protect the chickens from the weather and predators. Are there chickens in there? All farming tools. This right here is an agricultural boiler. It was typically shared by neighbors to render hogs, scald chickens, wash heavy bedding.
Man, live.
Wow.
That's worth some money right there, just the scrap.
Did you see a white prairie dog yet? There's the one right there.
Huh?
There's one right there. That's the one I saw. I have an old Ford car with a piston ring. All right.
She needs a little work.
She does.
Needs a little work.
Shops. Heard some chirping, and it's the white prairie dogs. I've got something to say. Oh. Bit more shy. Oh, find a hole. You have any leftover peanuts, Chris? Oh, look at him out here. My, there's several out there.